There's a man in this story who built a good, quiet life and then spent the first months of his retirement not knowing what to do with all the silence he'd finally bought. He thought the hard part was behind him. He didn't know that the hardest question of his life was going to be asked by a 12-year-old with a school notebook. This is his story. Hello, I'm Eleanor. I'm the narrator for this channel. The story I'm about to tell isn't anyone's biography. It's composed for this channel, drawn from the lives of older men of a certain kind. It honors how a generation really lived. For most of his life, the man, let's call him Frank, ran a small repair shop. Engines, mostly. Things other people had given up on. He'd grown up watching his own father come home gray with tiredness and still be treated like he didn't matter much. And somewhere in him, young, a promise hardened. I will be the kind of man people count on. So he was. He opened early. He closed late. When a neighbor's car died in January, Frank was the one out in the cold with a flashlight in his teeth. He was dependable. That was the word people used for him. Dependable. He wore it like a good coat. But a coat like that is heavy, and it kept him at the shop on the nights his daughter had a school play. It kept him under a car when his wife wanted to take a walk before the light went. He told himself he was doing it for them, the roof, the groceries, the little vacations once a year. That was love the way he understood it. You provided, you didn't complain. His wife knew the difference, even when he didn't. She'd say his name softly across the kitchen, not angry, just tired in a way that had nothing to do with sleep. He thought she was asking for more of what he was already giving. She wasn't. She was asking for him, for his eyes to land on her and stay. She passed a few years before he retired, and when he finally locked the shop for the last time, the house was waiting for him. Paid off, clean, and so quiet he could hear the refrigerator hum. He'd spent 40 years imagining rest. Now he had it, and it sat on his chest like a weight. He didn't know what a day was for if it wasn't for working. He'd wake at 5 out of habit with nowhere to go. He'd make 1 cup of coffee and not finish it. Then one afternoon, his daughter dropped off his grandson, a boy of 12, with a backpack and a school assignment. The teacher had given them a project. Interview the oldest person you know. Ask them about their life. The boy sat at the kitchen table with a spiral notebook and a list of questions in careful handwriting. And Frank, who had answered every hard question a broken engine ever asked him, felt something close to fear. Because the first question on the page was one no one had ever asked him out loud. What are you proudest of? And Frank opened his mouth to say the shop. 40 years of it, the thing he built. But the word didn't come. Because sitting across from this boy, he understood all at once that the shop was not the answer. The shop was just where he'd been standing, while his life happened in the other room. So he was quiet for a long moment. And then he did something he had not done in years. He told the truth. He said, I'm not sure I did the proudest thing yet. And the boy, bless the young, they don't know what's heavy, just nodded and wrote it down and asked the next question. They went through the whole list. What was your mother like? What did you want to be? What do you wish you'd done different? And the strangest thing happened. In answering a 12-year-old's homework, Frank heard his own life said out loud for the first time. Not the version on a resume, the real one. When they finished, the boy asked one more, his own, not on the page. He said, "Grandpa, can we do this again next week?" And Frank, who had spent a lifetime being the one who was counted on, felt the question land somewhere it hadn't been touched in years. Someone wanted his time, not his work, his time, just to sit and listen. They did do it again and again. The notebook got full, and then there was a second notebook. The boy stopped calling it homework. Frank started setting out 2 cups and finishing his coffee. He couldn't go back and sit through the school plays he'd missed. He knew that. The years that were gone were gone. But he learned late. The thing his wife had been asking for across that kitchen all along. The difference between being depended on and being present. They are not the same, not even close. There's something men of his generation often carried. The belief that love was a thing you did with your hands and your hours, out at the edge of the family providing. Many of them were dependable their whole lives and lonely the whole time, and never knew the two went together. Some of them got a second notebook and a chair pulled close and a chance to learn the difference before it was too late. Frank was one of the lucky ones. The luck wasn't that someone finally asked him about his life. The luck was that he was still here to answer. That was today's story. If you watched this and thought of someone, a father, a grandfather, someone in your life who showed their love by working and may never have learned the other way, call them this week. Ask them a question about their life, then sit and listen. That's the thing this story is really about. And if you're looking for ways to bring a regular human voice into an older person's week, Grand Companion pairs older adults with real companions for weekly ongoing conversations. Real people, not AI. We compose stories on this channel, but our service is built on real human relationships. If you'd like to keep hearing stories like this one, subscribing helps you find them. Until next time.